Welcome to the One in the Many. My name is Arshak Benlian. My purpose with the One in the Many podcast is to explore the process of integration as developmentally formative and therapeutically corrective factor in human psychology. The One in the Many is the study of how conscious life differentiates identity, integrates relation, regulates itself under constraint, and sustains direction through time. Subscribe to the One in the Many podcast and connect with me by writing to abenlian@oneinthemany.net. A child enters a room and sees everything. Every object is alive with possibility. Every drawer invites exploration. Every sound provokes curiosity. The world appears limitless because little has yet been differentiated. The child is not burdened by excess because he has not yet accumulated enough experience to recognize what is essential and what is merely available. The gift of childhood is openness. The challenge of adulthood is selection. As life unfolds, the individual gathers experiences, relationships, ambitions, skills, disappointments, possessions, memories, and ideas. Each new success expands the field of possible action. Each achievement creates additional responsibilities. Each lesson learned opens pathways to further exploration. Development appears to be a process of accumulation. Yet, there comes a moment in every mature life when accumulation ceases to feel like growth. The room becomes crowded. The schedule becomes full. The mind becomes noisy. The heart becomes divided. The individual who once sought more begins to ask a different question. What belongs? This question marks a profound transition in development. It is the moment one discovers that growth and accumulation are not identical. Nature teaches this lesson everywhere. A forest grows wildly when left unattended. Branches compete for light. Underbush expands. Dead wood accumulates. Growth continues, yet vitality declines. Eventually, the very abundance that once signified life begins to obstruct life itself. The forest does not perish from lack. It suffers from excess. The same process unfolds within human consciousness. The student accumulates information. The entrepreneur accumulates opportunities. The artist accumulates techniques. Civilization accumulates knowledge. At first, this expansion is necessary. Differentiation broadens awareness. Possibilities multiply. New capacities emerge. Yet every successful act of differentiation eventually creates a new problem. How can increasing complexity remain coherent? This is where purification enters. Purification is often misunderstood as denial. Throughout history, it has frequently been associated with abstinence, withdrawal, self-repression, or suspicion toward pleasure and vitality. Such interpretations mistake purification for impoverishment. But purification is not devotion to less. It is devotion to the essential. Purification is not ascetic devotion to abstinence from life. It is the efficacious process of maintaining the essential in the face of overwhelming stimulation of the self. This distinction is fundamental. A sculptor does not create beauty by destroying marble. He creates beauty by removing what prevents the form from emerging. A musician does not achieve mastery by adding infinite notes. Mastery appears when every note serves the whole. A martial artist does not become more effective by learning endless movements. He becomes more effective by eliminating unnecessary movement. A philosopher does not gain wisdom by collecting limitless facts. Wisdom emerges when contradictions are removed and essentials are preserved. In each case, development depends not merely on acquisition, but on refinement. The same principle governs the development of the self. There is a reason mature individuals often appear simpler than younger ones. Their speech becomes cleaner. Their movements become more economical. Their environments become more intentional. Their priorities become clearer. Their emotional reactions become more proportionate. From the outside, this may appear as reduction. In reality, it is concentration. Energy once scattered across countless competing concerns becomes organized around a hierarchy of values. Attention itself undergoes purification. The modern individual lives amid a level of stimulation unprecedented in human history. Infinite information streams compete for awareness. Every opinion demands consideration. Every notification claims urgency. Every possibility presents itself as equally important. Yet consciousness cannot function without hierarchy. The nervous system survives through filtering. The eye receives more information than awareness can process. Memory depends as much on forgetting as remembering. Life itself depends upon selective permeability. Every organism maintains identity by determining what enters, what remains, and what must be released. Human consciousness follows the same law. Without purification, attention fragments. Without purification, meaning dissolves into stimulation. Without purification, freedom becomes exhaustion. Many people imagine freedom as the absence of limitation. Yet, every meaningful achievement reveals the opposite. The pianist gains freedom through disciplined practice. The martial artist gains freedom through disciplined movement. The scientist gains freedom through disciplined inquiry. The writer gains freedom through disciplined language. Purpose does not eliminate limitation. Purpose organizes limitation, and purification preserves that organization. This is why military traditions place such emphasis on order. It is why martial arts schools insist upon discipline. It is why master-apprentice traditions preserve ritual. The deeper purpose is not obedience, it is transmission. The apprentice enters a craft seeing thousands of details. The master sees only what matters. The apprentice struggles because every movement appears equally important. The master acts effortlessly because years of refinement have purified perception. What has disappeared is not complexity. What has disappeared is interference. The same process unfolds in relationships. Over time, relationships accumulate expectations, misunderstandings, resentments, and assumptions. Left unattended, these residues gradually obstruct authentic contact. Two people no longer relate to each other directly. They relate through layers of accumulated distortion. Relational purification restores clarity, not by reducing feeling, but by removing what prevents genuine recognition. Not by avoiding conflict, but by resolving what obscures connection. The same is true of language. Words gather dust. Concepts become detached from reality. Phrases become substitutes for thought. Abstractions lose their connection to observation. Eventually, language ceases to clarify experience and begins to conceal it. To think clearly requires continual conceptual purification. To speak clearly requires continual linguistic purification. To live clearly requires continual existential purification. At its deepest level, purification addresses a universal problem. How does a thing remain itself while becoming more than it was? A child becomes an adult. An apprentice becomes a master. A seed becomes a tree. A civilization becomes a culture. At every stage, something must be preserved and something must be relinquished. Without preservation, there is no identity. Without relinquishment, there is no development. Purification is the process that makes both possible. Within the framework of the one in the many, this process becomes fully intelligible. The one is the principle that provides continuity through change. It is the purpose, identity, virtue, truth, or value that organizes multiplicity into coherence. The many are the endless experiences, actions, perception, and possibilities that emerge through life. Without the one, the many become noise. Without the many, the one becomes a floating abstraction. Purification is the continual act of restoring proper relationship between them. It is the reduction phase of becoming. Induction gathers. Integration organizes. Purification preserves. Without purification, successful integration eventually collapses beneath its own complexity. The very achievements that once expanded life begin to fragment it. But when purification is consciously practiced, development remains possible. Complexity remains intelligible. Growth remains connected to purpose. The integrated life is therefore not a life of endless accumulation, nor is it a life of sterile reduction. It is a life of continual refinement, a life in which the essential is preserved and the unnecessary is released. A life in which attention, action, relationship, and purpose remain proportionate to one another. A life in which becoming never loses contact with being. For ultimately, purification is not the rejection of life. It is the preservation of life's capacity to continue becoming what it is meant to be. This is the one in the many. The principle of life is the process of integration from a single cell to an ideal human being. The story of life unfolds through integration, from a single percept to a library of knowledge. Through virtue, reason, honesty, independence, selfishness, productivity, you set your values, purpose, to achieve self-esteem and happiness. Through time and energy, from induction to integration to reduction, the smallest particle unifies matter, and the highest purpose unifies your life. You, the one in the many, matter. May you integrate your life with value-driven days.